We all know the legend of Genghis Khan, the conqueror who built the largest land empire in history. But few realize that some of his greatest power came not from his armies or his sons, but from his daughters. These were not ordinary princesses. They were warriors, diplomats, and rulers in their own right, trained to ride, hunt, negotiate, and govern entire regions. From commanding armies to managing trade routes and forging alliances, they played a pivotal role in shaping the Mongol Empire, yet their stories were almost erased by history. Behind every conquest, behind every treaty, these women wielded influence and authority that rivaled the men around them. Today, as we uncover their hidden lives, we see a different side of history, a story of courage, intelligence, and leadership that has remained in the shadows for centuries. This is the untold life of Genghis Khan's daughters, the women who ruled, conquered, and shaped the world, even when history forgot their names. Genghis Khan's daughters were born into a world defined by conquest and survival. Yet their upbringing was nothing like the sheltered lives of princesses in other kingdoms. From the moment they could walk, they were immersed in the rugged life of the Mongol steppe, learning the skills that would one day allow them to rule, like the daughters of European kings who were often confined to castles. And instructed only in embroidery or etiquette, these girls were trained as warriors, diplomats, and leaders from an early age. They learned horseback riding as naturally as walking, mastering the ability to ride across vast plains while shooting arrows with deadly precision. Hunting was not a pastime, but a vital skill, teaching them patience, strategy, and survival. Education for these daughters extended beyond the physical. They were trained in diplomacy, languages, and the complex politics of intertribal alliances. They learned how to read and interpret the behaviors of allies and enemies alike, understanding that words and actions could wield as much power as swords. Their mother, Bert, played a crucial role in shaping their strength and resilience, instilling in them the confidence to assert authority and make critical decisions. From an early age, these girls witnessed their father's leadership firsthand, understanding the demands of command, the importance of loyalty, and the intricacies of empire building. They were groomed not for marriage alone, but to be trusted partners in governance, capable of managing people, resources, and conflicts. This upbringing blurred the lines between traditional gender roles, creating women who could step seamlessly into positions of power. The daughters' childhoods were demanding, rigorous, and unconventional. Yet these experiences were essential in preparing them for the immense responsibilities that awaited them. They learned not only to survive, but to lead, to influence, and to shape history. This foundation of strength, intelligence, and courage became the defining characteristic of Genghis Khan's daughters, setting the stage for their extraordinary roles in the expansion and stabilization of the Mongol Empire. Their formative years were a testament to the Khan's vision and foresight, proving that the future of his empire would rely not just on his sons, but on the remarkable women he raised to be leaders in their own right. Genghis Khan understood that power was not only won on the battlefield, but also through strategic alliances, and his daughters were central to this vision. Unlike in many other cultures where royal women were married off merely to cement political bonds, Genghis used these marriages to maintain direct influence over the tribes and regions that joined his growing empire. His daughters were given to powerful tribal leaders not as passive brides, but as rulers and governors, entrusted with authority and responsibility. This unique approach allowed them to wield considerable influence in their husbands' territories, ensuring loyalty and effective governance while extending the Khan's reach. Alakai Beki, for instance, was married into the Ongud tribe, but she retained her authority, governing the region and overseeing trade routes critical to the empire's economy. Her strategic oversight maintained stability, strengthened alliances, and expanded Mongol influence without direct military intervention. Similarly, Alaltan was entrusted with managing her husband's tribe, administering laws, and negotiating conflicts. Showcasing the blend of diplomacy and leadership Mongol women could exercise. These marriages were carefully orchestrated to balance power, prevent rebellion, and promote loyalty, demonstrating Genghis Khan's understanding of soft power and his daughter's ability to wield it effectively. The daughters' political skills were often more subtle than the force of conquest. They negotiated disputes, arranged marriages for the next generation, and maintained alliances that secured the empire's stability. Their roles required a delicate balance of loyalty to their father, authority over their new lands, and the intelligence to navigate complex tribal politics. By embedding his daughters into the leadership structures of other tribes, Genghis Khan created a network of women who acted as extensions of his power. Their influence often extended across generations, shaping not only their immediate territories but also the broader geopolitical landscape of Central Asia. Through these strategic marriages, Genghis Khan ensured that the empire's expansion was matched by effective governance. With his daughters at the heart of political strategy, they were not simply married into power, they were entrusted with it, and in doing so, they became indispensable architects of Mongol dominance, lending diplomacy, leadership, and vision in ways that were revolutionary for their time. The daughters of Genghis Khan were not content with ceremonial titles. They became governors, generals, and queens, whose influence shaped the Mongol Empire's political and military landscape. Alikai Baki, for instance, managed her territory with a combination of diplomacy and strategic foresight, ensuring that the region remained loyal to her father while thriving economically. She oversaw trade routes that connected distant parts of the empire, to maintain law and order, and navigated complex relationships between nomadic tribes and settled populations. Her leadership demonstrated that women could wield real power in an empire often imagined as male-dominated. Other daughters like Kojin and Tumalin played critical roles in military campaigns, commanding forces and making tactical decisions that influenced the outcomes of key battles. Their leadership extended beyond their families, impacting the stability and expansion of the Mongol Empire as a whole. Sorgatani Beki, though a daughter-in-law, exemplified the extraordinary political acumen that Mongol women could exercise. She was instrumental in raising and advising future khans, managing intricate alliances and shaping policies that promoted trade, tolerance, and prosperity. The daughter's authority was recognized by allies and rivals alike. Chroniclers occasionally noted their wisdom, decisiveness, and ability to act independently, even in matters of war. Their governance was not limited to enforcing Mongol rule, but also involved fostering cultural exchange, religious tolerance, and economic growth. By placing women in such positions of power, Genghis Khan challenged conventional gender roles and demonstrated a pragmatic understanding of leadership. The empire's remarkable cohesion and longevity owed much to these women's abilities to manage territories, lead armies, and maintain diplomatic relations. Their influence extended across generations, creating a legacy of capable female leadership that shaped the Mongol world. These women were more than princesses. They were essential rulers whose decisions reverberated across continents, demonstrating that the strength of an empire lies not just in conquest, but in the vision and leadership of those entrusted with its care. Despite their extraordinary accomplishments, the stories of Genghis Khan's daughters were gradually erased from mainstream history. After the death of the great Khan, succession disputes and power struggles dominated historical narratives, leaving the contributions of women overshadowed by the achievements of men. Chroniclers, often men themselves, focused on military conquests and male heirs. Minimizing or ignoring the roles of female leaders, the daughters who had governed territories, commanded armies, and negotiated alliances were reduced to footnotes. Their accomplishments attributed to male relatives were left entirely unrecorded. Cultural biases further contributed to their erasure, as patriarchal norms dictated that women's influence be hidden or understated. Yet fragments of their impact survive through letters, administrative records, and references in later historical accounts. Scholars piecing together these sources reveal that these women were not passive observers, but active shapers of political, economic, and military outcomes. Their governance ensured stability in far-flung territories, facilitated trade networks that enriched the empire, and maintained alliances critical to Mongol dominance. Even in exile or widowhood, many continued to exercise authority, protecting their families and territories during turbulent times. The historical invisibility of these women reflects not a lack of power, but a selective memory that favored male achievements. Modern research has begun to restore their stories, uncovering evidence of their leadership and influence across Central Asia. By examining these overlooked narratives, we gain a fuller understanding of the Mongol Empire, revealing that its strength derived as much from the vision and skill of its women as from its legendary warriors. The daughter's legacy challenges assumptions about gender and power in history, showing that leadership and influence are not confined to men. Their lives remind us that behind every empire are untold stories, and that recognizing these hidden figures reshapes our understanding of the past. Honoring the women who ruled, conquered, and shaped the world even when history forgot their names. As we reflect on the lives of Genghis Khan's daughters, it becomes clear that the story of the Mongol Empire is incomplete without them. These women were not merely bystanders in history. They were architects of power, leaders who commanded respect, and visionaries who shaped entire regions through intelligence, diplomacy, and courage. They governed lands, managed trade routes, led armies, and maintained alliances in ways that rivaled and sometimes surpassed their male counterparts. Their influence ensured the empire's stability, expanded its reach, and created a legacy that would affect generations long after Genghis Khan's death. Yet for centuries, their names were forgotten, their contributions buried beneath the exploits of men. By uncovering their stories, we not only honor their strength and brilliance, but we also gain a deeper, richer understanding of history itself, one that acknowledges that leadership and greatness are not confined to a single gender. These daughters remind us that true power often operates quietly, behind the scenes, in the hands of those who are overlooked. Their courage, wisdom, and resilience remain an inspiration, showing that influence comes not just from conquest, but from vision, strategy, and the ability to lead with both strength and compassion. As we close this chapter of history, consider how many more untold stories exist, waiting to illuminate the past and reshape our understanding of the world. If you were amazed by the power, intelligence, and resilience of Genghis Khan's daughters, share your thoughts in the comments and tell us which story fascinated you the most. Subscribe to the channel to explore more hidden histories and remarkable figures whose lives changed the course of empires and dawn. Forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss a journey into the untold stories of the past. Together, let's bring these forgotten heroes back into the light, celebrate their legacy, and continue uncovering the truths that history almost forgot.